Welcome to the Confluence section of the course. Here, we are going to talk about another product made by Atlassian that greatly complements JIRA. And so if you have completed the JIRA section of the course, you will see how your team can work even better when coupling JIRA with Confluence. So what is Confluence? Confluence is a content management system, or wiki tool, that allows you to organize your work and collaborate with team members on the work. It's a central hub where you can essentially create and store any content that is relevant to either your team or your project, whether it's product requirements or specifications, meeting notes, even blogs for your company or your team. Basically any general documentation and information. The list goes on, and you can really cater it to your needs or any kind of content that you wish to create or store. So why use Confluence? Well, chances are that your documentation, things like meeting notes or anything that essentially allows your company to function, might be stored in multiple different places. So Confluence allows you to consolidate all of that into one place and is a platform where you can even create rich content for yourself, or even your team, your projects, or even external customers who don't even need to log into Confluence to view your content. You can collaborate on documents in real time, and it also offers you other collaboration features like commenting, notification alerts, watching content that's relevant to you so that you are kept in the know every time changes are made. It offers you numerous predefined document templates that you can use to create your content. All of it is customizable, and you can even build your own templates. One of the best parts is that it integrates seamlessly with JIRA. So you can display JIRA issues within Confluence dynamically. You can even create JIRA issues from a Confluence document with a single click. And the two applications are closely linked, where issues in JIRA can have a corresponding document in Confluence and vice versa. There's automatic version control and automatic saving, so you never have to fear losing your information, and can always go back to previous versions of a document to look at what was changed. And lastly, there are numerous add-ons available, just like on JIRA, to enhance your Confluence functionality and experience. So what is Confluence made of? When we introduced JIRA, we mentioned that the main aspect of JIRA are projects and issues. Basically, you create projects and then create issues within the projects. Similarly, Confluence comprises of spaces and pages. You create spaces and then create pages within those spaces. Spaces are basically how you organize content. So if you wanted to store all your technical documentation in one place, you could create a space for that. Or if you wanted all documentation and notes related to a specific project in one place, again, you would create a space for that. Once you've created your spaces, now all the content that goes into a space will be in the form of pages. Pretty much anything from meeting notes or specifications or how-to articles will be created as a page and then populated with relevant information. Now, within a page, Confluence provides a whole slew of what they call macros, which are basically small tools or widgets that add extra functionality or dynamic content within a page. So something like table of contents would be a macro. You select the table of contents macro and add it onto the page, and it automatically sets it up based on the headings and content you have on the page. Similarly, you can have a macro that displays a JIRA issue filter, which basically lists all the issues returned by a specific JQL query and displays it on the page in a table format. So these macros are pretty powerful elements of Confluence by which you can create rich and dynamic content. So what are we going to go through in this section of the course? We'll start off with how you can set up Confluence and how to navigate around it. We will also set up some users and ensure they have access to Confluence. These would be the same users in your JIRA instance, as JIRA and Confluence are basically two applications linked together within the same product. We'll then take a dive into all the terms that we just talked about, starting off with spaces. creating them, looking at the blueprints that Confluence gives us. And then we'll go into pages and how you create and edit pages of different templates, and how you can manage your pages and collaborate with other team members when working on your pages or content. We will also look at macros pretty much throughout the entire section because they pop up and appear almost everywhere. Almost every page can have a macro that gives it some kind of extra functionality or information. So we'll also look at how you can add macros to a page and set up some of the more common macros as examples. And of course, we can't talk about Confluence without spending some time talking about how it integrates with JIRA. This is where we'll see how the two applications really complement each other, thereby allowing your team to be really productive when using them together. And part of that productivity is brought about by the collaborative editing feature of pages, which I will also demonstrate. And lastly, we'll touch on the administrative aspect of Confluence, such as setting up permissions at different levels, and look at some of the other Confluence administrative functions at a high level at least. Now, I want to just leave you with one note in that Confluence is very powerful and offers a lot of functionality and customization capabilities, and so there may be some details about using Confluence that I just won't be able to cover in this section. But I do recommend using their documentation as a resource, as they have a lot of nuances. Things like keyboard shortcuts or various ways of boosting productivity when using Confluence that you can learn from and just get more knowledge from their comprehensive documentation. With that said, let's get right into it and look at how you would go about setting up Confluence from scratch.